I want to also let you know, because we've heard a lot about how the design of the library is not exactly what people like, that the design is just to give you an idea of what a library would look like in that particular spot. We spent probably 10% of the time on the exterior. I understand a lot of people don't like the exterior. We have not spent the time that should have been spent on it, and we welcome everybody's ideas. We hope you will come to the building committee when we have money and are designing the exterior, because nothing in the whole, in fact, nothing in the whole design has to be there except the size and the location.
So don't get hung up yet about what this building is going to look like, because we're going to have a number of meetings to discuss that and be given a lot of information before we have to make the decision.
All right. So we're calling this one D. This one is obviously more symmetrical form, kind of based on some of the other forms that we've been talking about, right? So this one kind of is a nod to post office, which is next door. It has a similar form, not exactly the same, obviously, and the court across the street. It is a masonry building, and then it's got some trim on it that is supposed to recall some of those ideas. I don't know, we can't really pull off what they've done at the courthouse, right? It's got limestone, there are garlands on there. It's not only in the world to do that. And so we could do something that nods to that, but we can't really replicate it.
Someone brought up to me, well, the Friends put out a newsletter last week, the Friends of the Greenfield Public Library, and in it they displayed a couple of drawings of our library and received some pretty negative feedback. And it was recommended to me that maybe we do some kind of a publicity, sort of laying out how we got to the design that we got to by way of a press release or something to try to counteract whatever negativity there will be, that there might be about the design. And that led me thinking about how will that play into our groundbreaking or whatever we're going to be doing, and when are we going to be doing it. But I thought I would just sort of just put it out to the group just to sort of get some feedback from you all. I mean, I felt like, you know, we've had 18 public meetings where we've discussed this. We've encouraged public comment. We've allowed public comment, and haven't heard one negative comment about our design. The design that we agreed on was done unanimously without anybody being really cajoled into agreeing to it. So I felt really comfortable with our process. And there's a part of me that feels as though we've done what we needed to do. And then there's this other part of me that thinks, hey, maybe we should. So I'm just, yeah, Tim.
So I ran into the same thing with the high school project, and the common, there's two things that come up that I see when you build a building this big, is that people say it doesn't have the New England feel to it, and two, why doesn't it have a pitched roof? And one of the things that we did with the high schools, we actually had the architect, and you try to explain, well, when you're building 20,000 square feet, it's not, you're not building, you know, the senior center, the John Zahn Center. That is a much smaller building, and so you had the capability of making it look more New England, and the siding's different, and it's just a different look. And when you're building a bigger building, it costs more if you really wanted to do that. We actually did an architectural drawing of what it would look like when you build a 148,000 square foot high school with a pitched roof on it. and said, you can see that why this is why you don't do it, because it's not feasible because of just architect and engineering. And it helped, because trying to explain that it's not the same as building your house. And yes, anything is buildable. You could theoretically build a 20,000 square foot building that looks like a quaint New England farmhouse, and it's going to cost you twice as much money to do it. So we did go down that road, and you hear it all the time. And that's one of the things when people talk about big box. Why does a big box look like a big box? Well, because it's 180,000 square feet, and it doesn't look like. It's hard to not put a flat roof with air handlers on the roof. So it's a common problem, and I've heard it too. When people saw the picture of this, they immediately talked about the courthouse. They immediately talk about the intermodal, which I personally don't like the intermodal, but that's a different story. And there are people thinking the same. It doesn't fit for downtown, and I think it's just that the understanding of architecture and engineering and the way that things need to be done, it's not possible to make it look like a building that was built in 1880 without spending a lot more money.
Tim, you are right on the mark, except I don't think that the renderings are going to do justice to this building with regard to the materials that have been picked and the colors that are currently on the table for the brick and the paneling. I think it's going to have a different feel than the courthouse, and definitely the intermodal. You and I are in agreement on intermodal. I don't know how that thing ever got there, but I think the other thing that you all are going to have to realize is that there's 17,000 residents in town, and you're not going to please all of them. And that you're going to get some negative comments, and you're just going to put on a turtle shell and let them bounce off. You guys worked really hard to get to those elevations. If you remember, we went through an awful lot of back and forth on classical, non-classical, pitched roof, non-pitched roof, making it look like the front of the courthouse, the old courthouse. I mean, there was a lot of back and forth we did there. This didn't just come out of the blue, out of Phil's head. I agree we should be doing some publicity, and we certainly can do newsletter. We can start up doing newsletters. We do newsletters during construction every 3 or 4 weeks to keep the public informed, because they want to be. We offer that and do that as a routine on a P3 project, but there's no reason why we can't set up and do that now. And if that's okay with the committee, we'll do a draft newsletter for the next meeting for you guys to approve, and we'll send it out. Megan, I'm putting you on cue to get ready to go with a newsletter, and we'll get the content of the pictures and things and some of the narratives of the architecture from Phil.